Very good seeing.
Okay, we are good to go.
All righty. Well, welcome everybody, and we'll begin the meeting this evening, and Lauren will be giving us our staff report. Hi, Lauren.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, commissioners. I am going to share my screen with a presentation. If everyone could just let me know if it's up and working, that'd be great.
It's up and working.
Okay, great. I will be presenting tonight for staff, and this is a request for a design review to build a new drive-through restaurant in the town center zone. The site is located within the town center commercial center near Lowe's, and the property currently sits vacant. It is surrounded by similar town center zoning. And the proposal is for a new 2,325 square foot drive-through with a 400 square foot patio area and a public plaza. Other site improvements would include 39 parking spaces, new curbing and traffic markings, planters, a concrete patio with outdoor tables and seating, and a public plaza. And the site would be accessed from Northeast Wood Village Boulevard. The building materials would be a mix of metal, stone veneer, wood cladding, EIFS siding with large glass windows. And the proposed restaurant is of a typical size for a drive-through restaurant. Both indoor and outdoor seating is provided, as well as a mobile pickup window. And the proposal also incorporates outdoor seating and patio to provide dining areas, as well as buffering from adjacent uses. And the proposal also includes landscaping around the perimeter of the site that will create a more attractive view from the street. As outlined in the city's development code for this site, a public plaza is provided. The applicant proposes the plaza to be in the southwest corner of the property, and it's directly accessible from Wood Village Boulevard and meets the 4,000 square foot requirement, and would consist of benches, landscaping, and a paved walking surface through the site. Getting into the criteria, as always, it's applicable to the zone standard, other development standards, and development or design review criteria. The drive-through is a permitted use in the zone. There is no minimum lot size, area, width, or depth in this zone, and the proposed structure meets the front setback, which requires a structure to be between 0 and 10 feet from the right of way. As detailed in the staff report, the proposed structure does not meet the minimum 0.4 FAR for the zone, but the board could approve this deviation from standards through the sample variance findings included in the staff report, or alternatively could condition the project to meet FAR standards. As shown on the slide, the project does meet all minimum parking requirements. 39 vehicle parking spaces are proposed and 2 bicycle parking spaces are proposed that all meet standards. In terms of design review criteria, the building relates to the surrounding environment, and the external design elements attractively serve their function. And the design of the building also offers safety and privacy while still being commercially attractive with the large windows. And finally, here are the 2 staff options presented to the board tonight. The first would be to approve the request and finding that the application meets the required findings for a variance to FAR standards. Or the alternative would be to approve the request subject to conditions of approval to ensure compliance with the city standards, specifically those FAR standards. Staff is supportive of granting the variance for this proposal, but ultimately it's up to the board. And with that, I will end my presentation.
And then we do have the applicant present.
Okay. Thank you, Lauren.
Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Steve Russell. I am the Director of Development and Construction for Sire Equity out of San Diego, California. And I wanted to take just a minute to thank Greg, John, and then Jonathan, who I guess is no longer with us, but for their excessive help in guiding us through this entire process, understanding the different ins and outs of the project and working with us to come to something that I believe is a high and best use for the particular project. And then I'm happy to answer any direct questions you guys have about either our involvement or Chipotle, the ultimate user's involvement in the project.
Anybody have any questions?
So you know of the proposed Chick-fil-A right across from you. Will the construction of the Chipotle be concurrent with that construction, or will it be off?
You had asked me that 4 months ago, I would have said concurrent. My current timeframes on the Chick-fil-A, which is under their design control and they're leading that particular project, I think we're actually going to beat and be in front of them by 1 to 2 months. My hope is that they will be somewhat concurrent, but Chipotle should open prior to Chick-fil-A at this time.
How does that impact business when you got, if are at a
Mhm.
separate time? I mean, is that like traffic flow and stuff with?
It's a good question. The site as it lays out today, at least in regards to the Chipotle site specifically, has a large amount of staging area that's already existing asphalt. Our goal is to stage 98% of our construction activities there. The underlying CC&R documents do require that entrance shared between Chipotle and Chick-fil-A remain open at all times. Does that mean that it won't close for a day or so? It might, but in essence, that driveway will remain open. And Chick-fil-A is required to stage on their parcel, which I believe they've already adjusted lot size to include. So that's already, was that recorded? You know which one? Yeah, because they moved the lot line south.
I believe we signed off on it, but it's up to them to do the recording of it. But yeah, there was.
Through the
slight-
county, okay.
Correct. Yeah, they did some lot line adjustments there. It was administrative moving of it just to reflect the two different projects.
So the short answer to your question is there'll be a large amount of construction activity in that particular area. I hope that those particular workers choose to eat at Jersey Mike's and the other restaurants. But we'll do our best, and I'll be here frequently to maintain construction separation, but then also Lowe's access.
Another question on, there's all kinds of materials involved here. The wood part of it, as you been in our city hall, lots of wood accents. What's the plan for the wood on the building itself?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
It's like the darker.
Right. So that is, make sure I'm actually talking about the right finish material here.
Like by the drive-through there?
It is. So it's a majority of the dark. It is mostly encased or housing the pop out for the actual drive-through distribution. And to be clear, this is not a standard drive-through operation. This is a mobile order and pickup location. So you cannot order a burrito in this case, tell them what you want on it, and then wait 3 minutes and pick it up. These are all mobile orders only for this. But going back to your question, this is that metal and wood siding section in there is a natural material that is then sealed on that particular one. I believe it's not coming through very good, but I believe it's vertically run as well. Instead of horizontal.
And is that the only wood on the building? Like
That is the only wood on the building. The stone was indicative and pulled from the existing stone material at Town Center already.
So the landscaping looks really good to me. Lots of
And this does then kind of complement and complete, the stuff that Chick-fil-A is doing, kind of winds down into this area or
According to
conversely.
the scale here, that's metal. This is wood.
Yeah,
Number 3 is wood. Pre-weathered exterior wood cladding. And number 11 is metal tubes in front of,
yeah, so number
Yeah.
11 is the reddish material.
Right.
metal.
It's metal. Yes.
So the number 3 items are wood, which is the almost black colors here.
Correct. It's on that drive-through.
Okay,
pop out.
okay, got it.
It's right here. You
Yep.
see like right here and
Yeah.
there.
Okay, I like that better
Yeah.
also.
And it's a larger scale of the material. The metal is similar in color and nature to what you already see out at Wood Village with that it's a reddish, maroonish in color.
I like metal too.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
It's the long-term maintenance material, limited
Yeah, no,
maintenance material.
I think the landscaping looks really good.
Good. The firm we hired locally has been excellent to work with.
Okay, does
Just
anybody
another-
have any additional questions?
Oh, yeah, take your time.
Is that so we can see?
Oh, hi, Lauren.
So that the quote drive-through or pickup window, that's like for the Ubers and the DoorDashes also.
In addition to
To the-
your normal personnel, like you can do the Starbucks
app.
mobile order. Yeah, it's similar in the app pickup.
That's pretty cool.
You just then don't need to pay the Uber fee on top of that.
If you use the app.
Which is
Cool.
why the drive-through lane is shorter in nature
Mhm.
due to the fact that there's limited time from the order to window.
Left my phone at home and I walked in, there's nothing.
No, this is a full normal store as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was confused.
If you want to go to the
Chick-fil-A
drive-through,
to the north,
Okay.
this is a full service QSR sit down, 1,800 plus or minus square foot restaurant and seating area
Okay.
in addition to.
In addition to mobile.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was confused. I thought it was,
Especially
I thought you
down
said strictly
Oh, yeah.
mobile, but
They were
okay.
terrible.
The drive-through window.
Got
It's
it.
not a traditional drive-through. It's
Never been to a
Pickup
Chick-fil-A
window.
drive-through, so.
There are 6 in the country open.
So is that just an efficiency?
Interest me as much.
It's a new business model for them
Sure.
that they're trying out
Yeah.
since they brought the Taco Bell CEO over.
Seen the line inside. Can you imagine how hectic the line would be outside? I don't
get it.
Still trying to decide what they.
They cut all the meat.
So, Their process, I mean, they did a queuing and traffic impact analysis that was part of the submittal to the county. They're somewhere between 11 and 13
go
expected
first.
cars at any maximum time. And there are still 5, I think it's 5 traditional park and to-go pickup locations as well. Or reserved spaces, suggested spaces for traditional pickup. In case that drive-through line has more than 3 cars in it, you can also park and go in.
I'm curious what happens when just somebody pulls into that lane.
We had the
Order.
same generalized question and concern, how are they going to address this? How are they going to deal with it? Chipotle had limited data as to how many times that happens. What they told us this far is that it will say mobile order pickup, and with that and their independent drive-through signage, and they'll ask somebody to just pull all the way through and come on in.
It does have the escape lane as
Oh,
part of the
okay.
drive-through.
Yeah, so you could. That
I
could
always
be a
have a sign
traffic
that says
message.
pickup or, app pickup orders only.
Nobody reads.
Well, that's right.
For 3 sign change.
Always has escape lane. You don't have to wait.
Yes, it does have the escape lane, which is becoming very common in all of these drive-throughs. I was in it today in a McDonald's and wanted to get out.
Hmm.
It was just taking too long.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
Really, thank you guys. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the help.
Thank you,
Appreciate the
Thank you for
support.
coming.
Thank you.
Anything you guys want to discuss? Concerns or?
No, looks
Nice.
decent. really.
Now that we figured out which was wood and what wasn't.
Yeah,
Right,
probably, yeah.
yeah, no, I
I
like
got out
that.
my magnifying glass.
Yeah, like tractors, a little bit more wood on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's what I thought at first. How much of this is wood? Because, you know, the wood and stone's what we look for in the, especially the town center.
And we made that very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And wood.
And your design people are on top of it.
Sure. Okay, then I guess we would entertain a,
And so if you'd like to do it with the variance for the FAR, which was very similar to Chick-fil-A, that'd be the first one listed on the screen.
Approved DR 22-03, a design review request for a new drive-through finding the applicant meets the required findings for a variance to the FAR standards, subject to the conditions and approval to assure compliance with the city standards.
all in favor?
I,
Oh, a second?
I'll second.
Yep,
Okay.
We'll have a second.
Okay, I'll second it.
now we can vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Keep
Steve.
these here in case they need it for something else.
Thank you.
And
Thank-
thank you, Lauren. I think we have a few more things to talk about, but you are free to enjoy your evening if you so desire.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you. Thank you all. Have a good night, commissioners.
And I believe, yeah, we've got John joining us virtually.
Hi, John.
Hey, John.
Hey.
Oh, you're on mute, John.
Yeah, mute.
There you go. Still can't hear you, but that's okay.
Okay, that's all.
There you are.
I'll say just a few other items, more updates than any kind of action or things, just giving you some updates where we're at with some buildings and designs and pending projects. So the building across the street there, the nice wood one, we're getting some permit activity for the Tanny's Coffee Shop and Bakery. So we're not sure on the timelines. They're kind of submitting some iterative plans and still trying to work through that. We know originally they kind of wanted to be open January time. It'll probably be spring-ish. Again, plans aren't final yet, but they're doing the work. So all goes well. We'll have Tanny's Coffee Shop and Bakery right across the street,
Awesome.
which will be great because in January, where you might have seen the markings on the roadway for locates, we are putting in those new crosswalks. So we'll be able to just walk right across the street on our fancy new crosswalk and get some donuts.
Awesome. Awesome.
Made sure of that, huh?
And then we're getting permit requests and inquiries for the standalone building at the byway, right there on the corner for Sushi Bento.
Wow.
Ooh,
So again, looking at, there'll be some plan review things. I mean, nothing for the design review or anything like that. It's all interior. No timelines on that yet, but I imagine, spring, summer-ish. It's hard to say on, so again, supply chains and how all that all goes, but they were in this week to start looking at the process and getting some permits.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm a sucker for.
I think with
sushi
Village
conveyor
is just
belt.
gonna be lots
I
of.
hope it's a conveyor belt.
It, I
Off-
wish for a very short period of time, if you were on Google and zoomed in, it actually had the business that's going there, but then they removed it. My guess is because people wanted to go there. And I forget, it's a smaller chain, I believe, but I forget the name. And then we got permit inquiries and should have a full package probably tomorrow for the remaining 2 empty slots at the town center. So we've got, Jersey Mike's, and then we have the joint chiropractic. There's 2 more suites available. Both of them
I
will be
hope they
taken
have-
up by American Red Cross for a donation center.
Oh.
So they're expanding, won't just be the
Stay around.
Vancouver, Avenue or Boulevard in, the heart of Portland for a permanent donation site. There'll be one here as well.
Fabulous.
Again, no timelines, but I imagine that's a relatively simple,
Chinook Winds,
tenant
they did it
improvements.
cafeteria style after a
Hey,
while.
Linda, I'm trying to listen to Greg here.
it was my fault. I started talking about sushi. But yes, Red Cross Donation Center, again,
That's
probably springish is this, I'm guessing, we don't know yet because it'll depend on their contractors and their processes. And then we heard from Steve again about kind of their timelines for at least Chipotle. He told me that he said pending this approval, he plans to be in right after the new year with the building set. When John and I talked with him a month and a half ago or so, they said they were anticipating being open about a year from now. And he anticipated Chick-fil-A a couple months behind, which wouldn't be a bad thing, given you don't want them open too soon because you'll have that it's new in that rush there. And then speaking of which, I kind of talked before the meeting, John and I met with County Roads right after our last planning commission meeting, explained, I'll just pull it up on a map because I can. That kind of wonky section of Wood Village Boulevard.
As you come off Gleason heading northbound.
Yep.
Yep. Don't worry, John. I'll share the screen. You'll see
All right.
what we see. And you can correct me when I
Right
miss.
there.
Let's see. Now I got to go back to Zoom.
Right. Oops.
Yeah. Everything.
So yeah, this right lane, how it then
Right there.
merges kind of terribly, and then opens back up into a right turn lane. I mean, it is really wonky. And then you have the center turn lane
Which
that's not
nobody
marked
uses.
either.
No.
And so you get people running the right lane,
Both
thinking you can just run it to the right turn lane, which would make sense, but it doesn't work that way. And then you get people here stopped in the through lane to turn left. County Road seemed to agree that was pretty wonky and kind of to say up to them to look at some solutions, not the applicants to fix this one. And so it'll be probably an iterative process over, I'll just say the next year, probably, because there'll be some probably engineering needed and some, process followed for that. But they did agree this is weird. And the only reason it hasn't been a bigger issue is because of the lack of turning movements, but now that we're getting more
Or
activity,
yeah.
they said, yeah, it needs some resolving. So good news on that one.
Will they have that fixed prior to an opening?
I would hope so. And again, I don't know what the fix is. I think, in the ideal perfect world, it just stays, this is just a right turn lane. And then you would even get a lot of queuing. If things were to back up or something, it would act as a nice overflow. I'm not sure you've got the distance when it merges to when it opens back up. And so some of their thoughts were basically this is just one big wide lane that then opens up maybe a little earlier into a right turn lane. Again, we were spitballing at a meeting and they're going to have to go back and do some work.
How about a roundabout?
Oh,
Love it. Let's do it right now. I'll put a little traffic cone right there and I've actually
Wood feature to it.
I've actually seen, I forget what city I was in. They put like 4 cones out and a traffic barrel with a wooden post and the roundabout sign on the wooden post. And that was their roundabout.
It would be nice, to have that in prior to.
And we're, the county, they've been really good with working with us, especially around the town center, pedestrian movements, traffic concerns. They're also, it's the whole county, but we'll see what we can do about that. And speaking of the town center and then traffic, let's go over here. So the council met with the Confederate Tribes of Grand Ronde in October, so about 2 months ago, and got an update both on just a lot of their other projects and things. It was really neat seeing they're doing elder housing, which was just so thoughtful, so well designed, basically net zero energy consumption. And because of the way they work it, you have your tenants and then the maintenance does all the maintenance, like the HVAC and this, that, and the other, and all the access is exterior to the home. So the maintenance folks don't even have to enter the home to work on like furnaces, water heaters, all of that. Extra thick insulation, solar panels, and then built-in generator plugins that would automatically kick on because they've experienced power shutoffs both in the winter due to ice storms, but then in the summer due to wildfire concerns, and their power is actually just shut off. But it's elder housing, medical devices, things like that. So we want to make sure that people can run their furnace or their air conditioner, kind of regardless. So I mean, I don't know if the mayor wants to speak a little bit on that particular part, but it was like, why why can't more places that build housing kind of follow that?
Wow.
And then.
Not a shared wall. Elders like to kind of track what and you know, the coming
In the front,
facing the street so that you can see people coming.
and I,
It was interesting. Into some of the shells and
an exterior mechanical room, like, cool.
And then we visited the Tachula Cultural Center, and every time you visit there, you learn something new. Learned that the largest plank house in the region was actually where PDX sits. And so when asked, "Oh, PDX doing the big remodel, whole revamp," I said, "What are they doing to honor that?" And the response was not enough. So don't expect anything new out of that one. And then we got to talking about the site here, and the long of the short of it is this is many years out before really anything happens. I think early on we thought it was a very linear, you do this step, turn your packet in, it gets reviewed, kind of, that was the question mark. And then it just kind of, if it's approved, they could build it. It's a little more iterative than I think we thought, and then a lot more back and forth and various components. And not surprisingly, a lot of it driven by traffic. And I'll kind of zoom out here. The preferred route is the Fairview exit, follow Fairview Parkway to Gleason. I'll zoom in a little bit more. Gleason, then 223rd, into the facility where, I believe the bulk of the building's more or less here, then the rest is kind of parking and other features. And so you would turn in at the existing intersection and then kind of follow into the parking structure or parking lot. They would extend 223rd to be 2 lanes through this section. And then this is retained with a right out only on a 223rd, and then this becomes signalized. But not the preferred route to enter the facility, but they understand people would find, they're going to find their path to get there, which was why I believe in all there were 19 intersections involved in their traffic impact analysis, and there's about 7 exceptionally problematic intersections with no easy to find solution. And I'm sure you're not going to be surprised when this one right here, 223rd at Halsey, is the biggest. What do you do with a constrained right of way that doesn't function well today? So they're still looking at what that could look like. They're looking at, since Fairview is on their transportation plan, has a roundabout here at Halsey at Fairview Parkway. The county doesn't, and it's a county right of way, but the city of Fairview does. And so it was fascinating is the Grand Ron and Fairview hired both the same traffic from Kittleson to do the work. So it sounded like the Grand Ron indicated they can work with the roundabout, but it may need to be a signalized roundabout for peak periods, because what they said was roundabouts work well when all the legs generally have equal amount of traffic. That way everyone has equal opportunities to kind of come and go throughout. When you're very one-way heavy, which this would be,
Yep.
It gets very difficult to get your other movements. And so signalizing it can then resolve that issue for peak periods, which
I
is
figure how are they going to do a roundabout there that, you just never get in the circle when you're on Halsey. You go, how are you going to get in the circle?
and that's for their peak period, which is they have to design everything to peak period is Friday and Saturday nights. Not too surprising. They've done things like adjusted the number of games which then drives a number of traffic movements. And they've done things such as if they centralize some of their operations back in, Grand Ron and doesn't, that reduces some employees, but they say once they kind of touch one part of the equation, all the other parts of the equation start changing. So it's just a very long process, but
Traffic escape.
to the project,
So this is going to be a casino?
it's a casino entertainment hotel complex. So they didn't say how many games, less than what was originally planned for, but more than what Grand Ron currently has.
More slots than Grand Ron has now?
We asked them the question, we said.
And we sent this out over a year ago, but let me pull it back.
That'll be the largest casino then, because right now Grand Ron has over 2,000 slot machines. They've got more than any other. I don't think they have more than
Any
Nation.
conceptual renderings yet?
Yes, that's what I was gonna pull up.
Oh, cool.
That's a lot. That's huge. Yeah, they got
And this
19
is
traffic problems. if
all
that's the case.
public information.
We can walk.
Exactly.
Literally, just go to the end of our street and
It's this one, yeah, 2021.
wow.
Can't.
So these were
That's
rent.
just- Is that the hotel too, or just a casino?
So the hotel is this part. So for orientation, let me actually take you to a different picture here. So it's a little easier to orient yourself. This is Poplar Mobile Manor here. That's 223rd there. So then Wood Village Boulevard is, way over there.
Yeah.
We've got then Coles, et cetera. So this is the 8-story hotel. So that's on the east side of it.
How many rooms do you know?
300. They just said 8-story. I think it was around 300 is what they were ballparking.
That sounds about right. Wow.
And then a lot of this, what you're seeing right here is actually the parking structure. It's just cladded with wood.
Mhm.
Some of you get up here was a little prettier.
Why, it's a lot smaller next.
It
It's
is. So it's 350,000 square feet total
That's huge.
with 120 of gaming. Yeah, and 300 hotel rooms.
I grew up 2 miles from,
Mm-mm.
I had a feeling it was going to be a casino there. No, nothing had really come out because rumor has it that Beach Group Chinook's building theirs in Kaiser right now, or it's already open. So if Chinook got a second casino, Grand Ron was going to get a second casino.
That's still working its way through state stuff. And
Yeah,
then there
that-
was recent
Well,
articles
I
with
think-
A and
I think
A
the
and
Grand Ron tribe has many tribes because when the Columbia River, they all merged into there. So
Mhm.
see, they could probably work it under another tribe, but still be,
And, all of those details were, if those conversations happening, we're not privy to them.
Yeah,
But again,
that's in the news. That's why I knew that one.
this is in their publication and, they met with us a year ago. The lighting's supposed to represent a smelt run from the Sandy River.
Oh, cool.
That is a green, that's Wapatoa grass for the roof. And so the thought was it could even hold, event space, clearly not on the edge of things. But so that's the design as we know it and have been told.
That's where you can tell how big it is right there. Because if that's the trailer park and that's the back of Coles or Freddy's, that's almost that.
And that's
big.
that existing kind of east-west connection that
Yeah,
we were talking about. And so. if
that
we
was
go-
kind of where the COVID thingy was.
Yeah, so we go back to here, it kind
Yeah.
of takes up, a cult where the grandstand and track were. Is kind of its footprint. But again, it's many years.
So behind
Out.
Freddy's is where the hotel would be then.
Yeah, hotel be kind of over
There.
here-ish. And then we were talking, there'd be the pedestrian connection point and things
Yeah.
from over here-ish. kind of walking up and because this would be like the hotel facade and things on this end of it.
Gee, people saying the hotel have a lot of places to eat in Wood Village there.
And then we did ask about the mix of other stuff, and they said they're so focused on just getting the main package put together that's going to drive the approvals and the traffic studies that the restaurants, whatever else is in it's not going to impact that other stuff. So that's kind of to them secondary. at
Traffic's
this
probably
time.
sounds like it's their largest hurdle.
Correct. Not including whatever other political things may be going on, both at the
Right.
federal level, then it takes actually state approval to get it approved.
A new government coming in.
So there really isn't anything in the
Oh,
coming
yeah,
years
probably.
to say to worry about. It's just they're driving the process, and it's a much larger, complicated process. I think we thought it was going to be a couple years ago when we kind of first got wind of it. That's probably the saddest thing, because we asked like, oh, could you do like a food cart plaza or some micro commercial retail, some activate the space. They said they have to leave the space pretty much how it is for the duration of the application. Otherwise, current conditions change and they have to, amend it, and it goes to the
For
bottom
the
of the
government
pile.
agencies?
Hmm?
For the government agencies, they can't do anything. Yeah.
Correct, yeah, on the federal side.
For us, they can do it, but I mean,
Well, what's interesting. I could start a business and
Wow.
they have to demonstrate.
Oh,
And then, yeah,
Intersection of 238. At that corner.
that fence.
Well, not that fence.
Oh,
I've noticed several times, it's kind of a hazard. Parking, the street parking goes almost all
Oh,
the way up to that corner.
right to there.
And I'm trying to turn right off of Maple. I have a hard time looking up the hill. On top of that, when I'm coming down.
Oh, the cars that
238
are parked right here.
Yeah, when I'm coming down 238 and I'm turning right into Maple, I can't see if there's a pedestrian crossing the street because
I just had a car pull out in front of me while coming here tonight. I had a green light and he just pulled out in front of me. I had to slam my brakes on.
We will mark these ones.
Another question while we're kind of in that area, that light that's supposed to flash. It doesn't really,
Work,
it goes, psh. That's it, one time.
or it flashes erroneously when there's no traffic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not working
Yep,
right.
county knows. I don't, so it's interesting, and John, feel free to chime in too. The county contracted the city of Gresham to do all the programming of signals and devices like that. So we've let the county know, and actually for a while, the sign was gone. So clearly something's not optimal with it, because it never seemed to function correctly.
Because that was kind of important, especially at busy times,
Yeah, it's a nice feature that they added.
That's a blind corner, and if the traffic's backed up.
I will say it is nicer having it a bit wider, and so
Yeah.
far the drainage seems to be better than it was.
We just have now your little street racers up and down at the middle of the night. And we have the guy that comes by at 4 o'clock in the morning with the radio as loud as,
We get,
and then the trucks.
there's a person on the corner has a webcam facing this intersection. And so we know whenever there's a cookie maker in town. And so, we always send it to the sheriff's office, always try to get it. Now I will say it's nice having the sheriff's office because they are very responsive and do what they can,
See, our
Given
houses.
resources
we're just
available.
right there. The two houses there, our backyard's on there, so we really get it up that street.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
fact,
just
I
the
think the
vacant
radio
parcel
is on the
here,
street.
still vacant. They actually increased the price of it. That was going to be, you all approved several years ago now, the Vista View housing complex. It's vacant right now on the market. It's interesting with current market conditions, what may or may not happen in the next couple of years, but it's still there. Other than that, there's not a lot of whispers for new larger scale development or, storefronts coming in. We know there's, interest here and, hopefully over the next several months, we'll start getting more stuff for the
Nothing
main
yet
part.
there? Nothing yet in the little strip mall there?
Nothing in the big one, but we got the
That
little
little
one
one.
there. And then, we're keeping on the graffiti vandals as best we can. It's been someone's putting a lot of time in graffitiing a lot of stuff.
Oh, well, 23rd and 30s,
I wasn't gonna mention it.
this with your white.
And Sharpie, they love Sharpie, the silver paint. I don't know what they use, but we couldn't remove it. So we've repainted actually some of those green utility boxes. So they look
That's why I wanted to look pretty clean.
fresh and clean. And that's our standard. Driven by, council and you all, and this is what the community deserves. So can't always get to every single one every day, but we're getting it done.
The worst place on our area is that one house on the corner of 239th and Holiday. It's got the brick wall there at the stop sign. That one gets nailed every once in a while.
Oh, yes, yes.
Stop sign got it one time, pretty bad in the street. Boy,
Mm.
I didn't even see it and they're out there fixing it. That's how quick it got done.
So that's what we have for you this evening. Any other
Wonderful.
questions or?
Road, icy roads and icky road.
Mhm.
When do you guys, I know you guys do it, come out on that 239th and Holiday Hill?
Oh, for like de-icing or graveling?
Yeah, we have trouble in our four-wheel drive with it even. So that seems to be a tough little, I mean, it's only what, couple hundred feet?
It's
but-
not the biggest stretch, but it's a nasty stretch. So yeah, and we
Yeah.
do, we do this one because we have our reservoir and right here. And then we do this one as well because we need access to our facilities.
Yeah, see the 239th off of Gleason and you come down to
Oh,
Holiday.
right
Right
there.
there.
Right there, it's really rough.
Yeah, John, do you wanna take that?
That is one of the hot spots there.
Mhm.
And we do put de-icer down and we do plow it and sand it. A good sign is when everything's melted away and you run through the neighborhood and you see 10 yards of sanding material on the hill.
Yeah, that
So-
even last week when we had those cold days. My husband leaves the house at like 5:30 in the morning and he had trouble getting up the hill and that's about our only way out of, we have hills, little hills all over to get in and out of that place. And that's the main one in that neighborhood.
And John and I were just talking about de-icing just a day or two ago and just the art and science that goes into it because you put it down when conditions are too moist and it's ineffective. You put it down,
And do it ahead of
on a
time.
cold, clear, windy day, it's good, it's set, but a cold, clear, windy day, you're not going to get the frost buildup. So
Catch-22.
knowing when to put it down where there's just kind of the no moisture, but will be moisture, but not freezing it's like I said, an art and a science, but we are prepared. We've got a full tank of the solution. We got the spray bar with the new pump. And then our new plow and sander should be arriving next week.
Yay. Because my husband's a darn good driver and everything. And with our him and I both have four-wheel drives out of the 4 cars we have. And when he can't get up, because he says, don't go out, if he struggles, then he knows I will. Because
Yeah.
he can't sneak out on the 238th anymore.
I think it was last Tuesday that was
Yeah, I
that
think it
kind of
was.
like the very heavy frost, we'll call it. Not
Yeah,
quite
it
an
was one
ice,
last
but not
week,
just
yeah.
the light layer.
I'm just wondering if that's kind of one of your,
Yep.
like you say, hot spots.
Yep.
It
Thank you,
is.
John.
Yep. Thank you.
The rest of the street's fine.
Else.
And our little street there from 239th out to 238th there, that little bit, that stays frosty, icy,
day.
snowy compared to everybody else.
There's no sun. It's all shade.
No, it's especially in front of our house with 30 some odd evergreens. Yeah, we know if we can get out on our street, we're good to go.
Right.
See, but this is our house right here. Right there.
That one is.
That's the Fuller, no, what,
Oh.
yeah, that one's ours.
Yeah, that's right. Because you're next to that.
And that's, yeah, and then that's the Fullers and then that's Craig's there.
Yeah, you always know Chris
little-
had the circular
Yeah,
driveway.
They're pretty, I think they work pretty late. You don't see much of them.
Else?
Anything else? We'll adjourn.
Happy holidays all.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
I'm not available till after the first of the year. My dates are-
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, John. Merry Christmas.
Oh, and I gotta go out and freeze again. My car will be full.
Next time.
All righty.
See ya.